Ryan's dreams for catching the eye of the goddess of the high school hallway has a chance of becoming true when her cousin offers to make him a deal. All he has to do is help Chris win the heart of his best friend, the beautiful Maggie.
This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is Ruining Our Childhood, a weekly podcast where we remove our childhood goggles and put on our adult bifocals to rewatch and review our favorite movies from the past.
That is true, and for maybe the last time?
Probably not. Not a podcast where we badmouth our childhoods.
I just realized I said maybe for the last time, made it sound like we were not going to be doing this podcast anymore, so I apologize.
Well, it would be a good way to go out. We're going out on a movie where the main characters are our names.
I know. I haven't seen this movie in a good maybe decade.
Yeah.
But I totally forgot that there's a Ryan and there's an Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like us.
That's our names.
That's us.
In case you don't know.
Yeah. In case this is your first one.
So, in case you didn't understand that plot, because trust me, it took me like 10 minutes to find a summary that was readable.
Halfway decent log line.
Yes. We're doing the 2000 classic Whatever It Takes, starring Shane West, James Franco, among other people.
Yes.
And this movie, I don't know why I liked it so much.
I have no idea. Did you have a crush on either Franco or Shane West?
Maybe a little Shane West.
Yeah, he was a good-looking guy.
But also, I think I just liked any romantic comedies. Mm-hmm. And if it was set in high school, I was really excited about it. And this is one of the ones that just came in that rush of teen movies in the late 90s. It even has one of the girls that's from She's All That. She's literally playing almost the same exact character.
Wow.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yes.
Why don't you give us a little bit of a 2000 facts? I almost said 2002.
I'm going to go take that walk down memory road.
Yes.
This movie was released on March 31st of 2000. Had a bit of a high budget at $32 million.
That's insane.
And it only made $9 million.
Holy crap.
Yeah, did not do so hot. Number one song for the week the movie came out was Destiny's Child, Say My Name.
Yeah.
A couple other big ones were Vertical Horizon, Everything You Want, Bent by Matchbox 20, and we'll go with Madonna, Music.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So those were some jams. Popular TV shows were Survivor, ER, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I was a little surprised at this. The top 3 movies for the year, number one movie was How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh.
I knew it was like a popular movie. I didn't realize it was the number one movie for that year.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Number 2 movie was Castaway, and number 3 was Mission Impossible 2 with TJ, Thomas Jackson Cruz.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a good
awesome.
year. Good year.
Good year.
Good year for music. Vertical Horizon.
Yeah.
I do love me some Matchbox 20.
Them in a previous episode.
Probably.
I think I was thinking they were Vertical Horizon, but they weren't. I don't know. Anyway, 2000, I was 14 years old. Just getting into high school. What month did this come out?
This movie came out in March.
March. So, not quite in high school yet.
Yeah.
I was still in junior high.
I was ending my freshman year.
Yeah.
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 It's a little Rai going through life.
Man. The end of my 8th grade year, I was going through a little bit of a rebellion.
Oh.
Hanging out with the wrong crowd.
Sounds like something you would do.
It was very short-lived. I was not made out to be a mean girl or a bad wild child, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the things I remember from this movie, I remember renting it. I think I watched it by myself because I don't think I could convince my brother to watch this with me. But maybe I did. Maybe he remembers this. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? He won't tell me. I just remember seeing this movie and thinking, it's like She's All That.
Mm-hmm.
It's got probably a very similar plot.
Yeah.
and it has, hot young people playing high schoolers that probably shouldn't be playing high schoolers.
Oh, yeah.
So I liked it. And there's parts of the movie I remember that I think are funny and charming, but I personally don't think it will hold up because it's not going to hold up, I don't think. I don't know what to say about it other than it's just, I'm sure it's going to be very cheesy at times.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to rely too much on, I don't know, like the romantic comedy tropes that have become completely cliche at this point in our universe. So,
and I feel like Hollywood's caught on to that, and I think, are taking a little break from rom-coms.
I think they took a break. I think they're on their way back.
Okay. Okay,
So,
Ashley. Ashley, okay.
I do. I think the last year, there's been a couple that have been pretty good. Like that one on Netflix wasn't bad. Set it up.
Well, I just felt like in the late 90s, it was like every few months you had a movie, and it was always starring a huge Hollywood star, whether it was Reese Witherspoon or Julia Roberts. And then on the guy side, you would get like Richard Gere or Hugh Grant. Mm-hmm. So somehow when Julia Roberts and those people stopped making those movies, it was like they've stopped making them as well for a while.
Maybe.
We didn't
They're
find
not
a replacement.
as high quality.
Yeah.
I will say, though, because you mentioned Hugh Grant, that we have been watching the 4 Weddings and a Funeral miniseries, or hopefully not miniseries, just TV show. And I actually really like it. And that's the type of thing that I think it's like bringing it back, is like that romantic comedy trope.
Yeah.
There's still, things that are cliche, but they're trying to find a new way to revive it. So I like it. But this, as far as this is, to me, is a little more teen sex comedy. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's coming out after American Pie, She's All That. Some classic ones.
Yes.
But I don't think it's going to hold up because I don't think it is quite as good as those ones. And let's be honest, American Pie barely held up for us.
Yeah. For me, you introduced me to this movie.
Yes.
Back in the early dating days of Ryan and Ashley.
Yes.
So I've only seen it once, and that was probably in 2006 or 2007.
Yeah. Which shows you how much I like this movie, because I was like, we should watch this movie, because I really love it.
Yeah, we were picking movies that we wanted to introduce the other one to, for the most part.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to hold up. I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no.
But it does have actors that I like. I do enjoy Shane West, and it's got my boy James Franco. So
is he your boy?
He's one of them. I've seen a lot of his stuff.
Okay. Okay, Ryan. Ryan, okay. Our dog is just breathing so heavy.
Oh.
Right now.
Oh, wow.
Can you hear that?
Who knows if this is going out, but Quinn making a rare appearance on the podcast, folks.
Apparently we need to get her some water. So. Have water. Go get water.
Where can you stream this movie?
Well, you can stream it on Crackle, which you can load Crackle pretty much, I think, on anything if you have a PlayStation or Roku. And I don't think they require you to sign up or anything like that. They might just have ads.
I think they have ads, yeah.
But it's free on there. And then you can also rent it just on all the other apps. YouTube, Vudu. I'm sick of saying them all. You know where to find renting things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks for prompting that, though. I was really going to remember. I had it open. Yeah. I was determined to remember. Whether I was actually going to is...
whole different story.
That's correct. So anyway, we'll go ahead and hit the pause and go watch this 2000 classic, and we'll be back.
Okay, and we're back. We're going to go ahead and break down our movie, Whatever It Takes, with our categories, like we always do. And first thing we're going to do is get the dial-up internet going so we can watch some porn and talk about some technology.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened.
Yes, it was.
But it also was a thing, not so much the porn, but the waiting for pages to load
Oh, yeah.
was not a fun thing as a child from the late 90s and early 2000s.
I definitely remember a few times trying to do research for like a school paper. Mm-hmm. And I would go to a website and leave the room.
Yeah.
And just wait for it to load because it was going to take 10 minutes to load this page.
That was just a part of our normal life.
Yeah.
Now, if my phone doesn't load something in 5 seconds, I was like, piece of shit. Like, why aren't you loading?
You got it right at your fingertips on your phone.
One thing I noticed was the one scene between Ryan, who is played by Shane Rest, Maggie, who's Marla Sokoloff. I had this problem during Babysitters Club, too.
Yes.
And James Franco's character, Chris, they're calling each other. So there's a lot of cordless phones. There's a lot of call waiting. Mm-hmm. And some three-way calling, too, at one point. So that was amazing.
But it was unique in the sense, I remember if you wanted to switch between calls on call waiting, you pushed flash on your phone. Mm-hmm. Tells you what an impact it made on me, that I remember the button you had to push.
Right.
They had like this weird hold system where you had to click line 1, line 2.
So they're all super rich. They have multiple lines in their house. I did not have multiple lines. I remember asking my mom if I could have my own phone line for a minute. Because once I hit 6th grade, I felt like I always had people calling and we talked for hours on the phone.
6th and 7th grade, Rai, and 8th grade, Rai, was on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
And my parents legit explored the option of getting me a phone line because I monopolized it that much.
Yeah.
Then once we got the internet, then my dad was ready to lose his shit because his phone line was always monopolized with that now.
Yeah.
I think he was the happiest person in the world when we got cable internet.
Right.
And then he would just trip over the cords and stuff. So when we got Wi-Fi, he was the happiest guy in the world.
In summary, your dad hated you. Was there anything else that you noticed with technology?
There was the usual boxy computers. The one that I did notice was Ryan was doing something on a computer, but he had a little calculator next to his computer. But when I say little, I mean huge.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like an adding machine that an accountant would use to do your taxes.
I felt like his bedroom was like a Radio Shack because he had, or a Guitar Center if you want to say, he had so many little gadgets and keyboards, stereo system.
A sound mixer
that allowed him to change his voice when he talked so that he could pretend to sound like James Franco.
But when he does that, he sounds still nothing like James Franco.
But on the other line, it's supposed to sound like him. And also, I'm pretty sure his bedroom door's open. His balcony, if you've never seen this movie, him and Maggie are next door neighbors. Mm-hmm. Their balconies are literally 5 feet separates them. So his window's open, her window's, I'm pretty sure, open. So how is she not hearing that he's doing this?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you can hear us making this podcast if you're in our living room.
Yeah.
So
that's an excellent point, because they were always on their patios talking to each other, or their balconies talking to each other, and they always had their doors open. So she should be able to hear him 10 feet away.
Right.
At most. Mm-hmm. Plot hole.
The one of many.
Yes. There was a scene where one of Ryan's friends calls him, and he has the weirdest microphone / telephone that I think I've ever seen. Floyd calls him. We'll get into
because that was
Floyd
during
later.
that scene.
Yes.
Where they start calling Maggie and they start calling Chris, and it's just a lot of phones.
Terrible.
That aren't cell phones.
No. Then there was a boxy TV VCR combo.
Yes.
Also used to watch pornography.
There's a lot of porn in this movie. There's a lot of cliches in this movie about teenagers, about
teenage boys in the year 2000. Apparently, just porn. That's all I cared about.
Year 2000.
Yes.
Sorry. I just went into a little Flight of the Conchords there.
Mm-hmm.
And also there was that huge Polaroid camera that Maggie uses to take a picture of Chris towards the end of the movie when she understands that he is just in it to, as he says, what does he say? I wrote it down if I can find it. Oh. It wasn't hit it and quit it. It was nail and bail.
Nail and bail.
So if you've never seen this movie, that should paint you a small picture of the type of character Chris, who's played by James Franco. He's quality. He's a quality human.
Good dude.
Was there any other technology? There was some music I wanted to talk about.
Oh, go for it.
So the first song, which I find that this movie chose to open on Ashley. Ashley Grant. It's played by Jodi O'Keefe. Mm-hmm. And it's her doing her makeup, but then they also do this, like, artistic thing with the makeup claymation, kind of, where they're just moving things, so it looks like things are moving by themselves.
Yeah, it was like the makeup was dancing.
Yeah. And then they're playing this song, and I'm like, it sounds like a Spice Girl song, because it smells... Smells
like spice.
It sounds like a Spice Girl song, because it sounds like Mel C, and we looked it up, and it's a song by Mel C. I remember a lot of them having their own separate singles eventually, but I don't remember that song at all. It was called Go.
Go by Mel C. There's a little Fatboy Slim. You can't have a movie in the year 2000 without a Fatboy Slim song. It's not possible.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in She's All That, they have the song that they do the coordinated dancing to is a Fatboy Slim song.
Oh, nice.
So, just add that to the column of this movie is literally She's All That
without the charm.
Ouch.
Joke.
Ouch.
No.
Do you want to move on?
Yes.
Okay. The next category is called Kids Would Call It a Throwback. We call it the prime of our teens, where we talk about fashion, offensive jokes, dated references, and boy, were there quite a few. The only thing I wanted to talk about with the fashion choices, because the only thing I noticed about most of them, I mean, there's a couple things, but all of Ashley's stuff was so crazy.
And dated.
So dated.
Yes. And
even to the point where towards the end, they're at prom, of course. And she has crimped hair.
Yes.
And
a choker on.
I totally had flashbacks because I crimped my hair like that a lot.
Aww.
Not so much for school, because I was definitely one of those kids that I would do stuff like that, and then I'd be like, I can't pull it off. And then I'd just wash my hair and just wear it straight, hanging down on my face.
I noticed a lot of interesting fashion.
Sure. Go ahead.
There's a character named Floyd.
Yes.
He has some sweet, spiky hair that was very 1999. Mm-hmm. There was a party where a guy was wearing a FUBU hat.
Yeah.
Yes. One of Ryan's friends has a bowl cut.
Yes.
Which I hope never comes back.
I think if it's one of the nerdier characters, that was, I think, supposed to be a little dated, maybe, because he's nerdy.
Yeah.
So he's not with the times.
Yeah. There was, the one girl was wearing I don't know what you would call it, other than it's like a bracelet for your bicep.
Yes.
I don't know, but I remember them being really popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It was like a metal bracelet thingy.
Yeah. It's like a cuff, I guess?
Yeah.
Arm cuff?
Arm cuff, I guess?
I don't know.
Yeah. Then,
let us know if you know what the name of that is.
I'm pretty sure if you do swim team in high school, you don't practice in a bikini.
I don't think so.
No.
It's not probably conducive for what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
I agree.
But apparently their swim team practiced in bikinis.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I didn't know that. At one point, Ashley's also wearing rhinestone jeans.
Oh, yeah.
And the only other thing I noticed about Floyd was that he wore a lot of layers and patterns together, which wasn't really, I think, a fashion then, but it was just something that he did.
Yeah.
That I noticed.
I felt like it became in fashion a few years later.
Yeah. Like mid 2000s?
Yeah.
For sure.
Guys would wear like a long sleeve shirt with a button down over it, open.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was starting the trend, Floyd.
He was. I think the last thing that I had was just, at one point, I think it was Shane West puts on a straw cowboy hat.
He does.
Which
is amazing.
As Ryan covered a few weeks ago, he's guilty of.
Yeah. Which you owned.
Yes.
Ashley's outfit for her party at the beginning of the movie.
The sheer dress that she was wearing. Because
she wears a couple different kinds of sheer tops. That was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But hers was just way over the top because she
was just wearing her underwear.
Yeah. They were matching at least. But yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Offensive jokes and dated references. Holy crap.
Oh boy.
I don't even know where to begin, man.
Well, right off the bat, at the very beginning of the movie, Ryan and Maggie are going to ride to school, and they get into a wood-paneled Jeep Wrangler from, 1980.
It reminds me of high school because one of my friends had one. Mm-hmm. So, she might have had a Jeep Cherokee. It was a Jeep.
It was a Jeep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take it.
Some of the more offensive things. The first one I'll note wasn't so much offensive, but super, super dated. They're at the party, at Ashley's party, and Chris is trying to hit on Maggie. Mm-hmm. Chris is James Franco. And he gets shut down because she's not interested in him at first. And there's a guy behind him. He's like, oh man, that was whack. There's so much slang in this movie. I listed a lot of it.
Oh, hit me with it.
Okay. Somebody said step off.
Step off?
Yeah.
Whoa, back off, bruh.
Somebody said, what a Rufus. Which I vaguely remember being a thing.
I don't remember that being a thing.
It apparently was a thing.
Oh, boy.
And Chris says famous a lot.
Famous.
If this was Mean Girls, Regina George would be like,
fetch.
Stop trying to make famous a thing, James Franco. Well, instead of saying, like, great or good, he'd be like, famous. And I don't remember that being a thing, but maybe this movie was trying to make it a thing. Let us know if it was a thing at your high school.
Yeah. It was not a thing for me.
No.
Maybe I should make it a thing.
No.
No? 20 years later? Don't bring that back? Okay.
What was some of your examples of dated references?
They referenced Julia Roberts and Lyle Lovett.
As a couple, yes.
As a couple, which I think they were married almost 30 years ago. It's getting close. There was a reference to Tommy Lee, which I don't know that the average 18-year-old knows who Motley Crue is or who Tommy Lee is.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have known when I was even that age, but the fact that, around that time is when the sex tape came out and you knew that he had a huge penis.
Yeah, because at this point, Motley Crue hadn't had a hit in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know that they've had a hit since the 80s. It's been a long time. I don't know that you would call this offensive, or it was just bizarre. Chris has a dresser that the front of his dresser where the drawers are, it's a girl in lingerie on the drawers. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
I think they're just trying to show you how big of a douchebag he is. I feel like almost all these characters are exaggerated versions of what teenagers were actually being in the late 90s, early 2000s.
It was a teenager turned to 11.
Correct. And his cousin was no better. Ashley. So there's a scene where they're doing a double date.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan and Ashley are in that, what is that called, a scrambler?
Yes, kind of. It was a little carnival ride.
Yeah, and she pukes on him because she downs the lemonade before they got on. And he has to go get a shirt. He wins a shirt, and it's a child's size Furby t-shirt, which Furby was a thing. I think it's still a toy, but I just...
Yeah.
In the hysteria of Furby-ness, I never had one.
Me neither.
But they were a thing.
They were definitely a thing. There's a scene where Chris is trying to impress Maggie, and he knows that Maggie volunteers at a nursing home.
Correct.
Because Ryan told him. And so he is going to go act as if he volunteers there. She comes in and he goes, "Oh, I like to come hang out with the sick and old. Do you think that's gay?"
Yeah. It's so gay to be caring about people that you're not related to.
Yeah, it's just...
And to be charitable.
Yeah. Awful.
it's one of those things where I think, did somebody write this in saying, like, that's just a normal term that you would say because volunteering at a nursing home is gay, quote unquote? Or are they just trying to prove that this character is so horrible that he thinks volunteering makes him gay? Either way, it's offensive.
Yeah, either way, not good.
Right. Another Chris classic, as I like to call them, or as I'm going to call them throughout this podcast today. At one point, he's talking to his buddies, and he's like, "You fags, be ready prom night when I do the old nail and bail." So lots of douchey things happening in that sentence and line.
Awful.
And you could not get away with that. Also, their prom theme, Titanic Dreams, which they do make fun of.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
A couple of the guys realize that's a terrible theme.
Yeah. It's funny because that movie came out, 3 years before. It's obviously a very big thing.
Yeah.
Culturally. Especially as teenagers.
Definitely. The last thing I noticed that was kind of dated was after their prom, they go to a hotel for a big party.
Right.
And it was the hotel linens in there.
I didn't know.
They look right out of a 1995 Holiday Inn.
Yeah, you think that all these rich white kids could afford something
They're going to
better.
be at the Four Seasons or the Crown Royal or something. It was a terrible hotel they're in.
Yeah.
It was awful.
They probably had to have low standards because who's going to rent out a floor to a bunch of teenagers to trash on prom night, you know?
Yeah. Mistakes
if you're
were
being
made.
Realistic. Did you have any more?
No, that was it.
Oh, okay.
We'll move on to our next category, the one we like to call Well, Hello There, where we talk about any cameos or famous or recognizable actors or actresses that we forgot were in the movie. And there was quite a few.
There was. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, right off the bat, we've mentioned him a few times. Floyd.
Yeah.
Superstar actor, Aaron Paul.
Yes.
And I think he said this was his film debut.
That's what it said on the trivia on IMDb.
Yeah. So he went on to be in other things, such as Van Wilder. Ironically, a lot bigger part in this movie than what he had in Van Wilder, which this came out first.
Yeah.
So,
but this movie didn't do so good, so
No.
I'm sure it didn't really help his career.
Yeah, something tells me this dropped off his resume pretty quickly.
He's like,
about that.
I wonder if you're an actor and you have a film resume, is it like having a working resume, like a regular job resume where you only do the last 5 years?
Yeah, you did the last few
Or you
years.
probably do like your most notable works or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. And also people have the internet now, so they can go on IMDb and find out you were in whatever it takes in 2000, Aaron Paul.
And this was a mistake on your part.
Stop pretending like you're too good. The one person I noticed was Kip Pardue, who it was in the amazing movie of our teens, Remember the Titans?
Yes.
And more recently, Marvel's The Runaways, that's on Hulu.
Yeah.
So
I noticed him. I noticed Christine Lakin.
Yes.
Who?
Step by Step.
That's what I know her from. She was in other things. I remember her also being on Veronica Mars and some other stuff, but mainly she was Al on Step by Step with superstar actor Patrick Duffy.
Yes.
Damn you, Patrick Duffy! Sorry. That was my Dewey Cox.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Julia Sweeney from SNL.
Yes.
Played Ryan's mom.
Mm-hmm.
She only was in a couple scenes, but
yeah, not a big part.
They were nice scenes.
One who had a very small part, he just played a police officer, was David Koechner.
But he also played Virgil Doolittle.
Virgil Doolittle, yes, but...
Who is the character of Floyd. Aaron Paul is obsessed with Virgil Doolittle. He's like the ultimate pranker. Idol.
Yeah.
So.
He removed the neck of the statue.
In front of the school.
Of the namesake of their school.
I do remember, there was a couple guys in my school that were fascinated with doing pranks.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Hanks.
Yes.
Played one of Ryan's friends in their little nerdy group of Aaron Paul and...
His name was Cosmo. It's a very weird name.
Yeah.
There was a scene where there's just a guy, he flashes on screen for about 3 seconds, and he's playing chess. Superstar Nick Cannon.
Yeah, he was just credited as chess player.
Yeah, that's all he did.
He had a line. The coach was played by, or PE teacher was played by Richard Sheaf. He's in West Wing, like he's in most of West Wing.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
he has a pretty big part. And he's been on House of Lies and more recently The Good Doctor.
Oh, wow.
So, and he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's very recognizable. He's like one of those actors.
Oh, okay.
And then I think that was it for me.
Yeah, that was it for me. There was one more.
Oh.
The woman who played Cosmo's prom date.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. Let me see. I have it up here.
Okay.
Her name is Rami Rosemont. She's been in a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She was in Glee. She played Finn's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I know she was in something else recently. She's in a couple episodes of Silicon Valley.
Oh, okay.
The Fosters.
She's been on, just a ton of things. I didn't even recognize
Apparently,
her.
in The Avengers. That's what she's known for. That's her top 4 is The Avengers.
Okay.
I'm going to have to rewatch that movie.
Yeah, we're going to have to rewatch that and see if we recognize her. Well,
Oh,
are you
sure.
saying The Avengers as in Marvel's
Yes.
The Avengers? Or were you talking about the one that had Sean Connery and Uma Thurman?
I'm talking about the one that people actually know what
Okay.
that movie is.
Because I was going, I don't remember her being in... I've only seen Marvel's Avengers, never saw the other one. Okay.
That's funny.
Gotcha.
Should we move on?
We shall.
Awesome. The next category is called Is It Even Good?
Eh?
Where we talk about the plot and we name our funniest and cringiest moments and talk about why this movie is a movie.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the plot, Rai?
I'm not a fan of the plot. I think a lot has to do with... It's a plot that is overdone.
Yes.
A lot. Hey, I'm going to help you hook up with my friend, and you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. It's just... I don't know that that's something that actually happens.
Yeah. No, it's not realistic at all. It's
No.
definitely a movie plot. I think in a world where romantic teen comedy hijinks are real, which they aren't.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I thought, yes. And
It
I've
gave
said
you
this
false
multiple.
hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would fall in love with a guy who made a bet with another guy. Exactly.
Me and my buddy were going to bet over whether or not we could turn this ugly girl with glasses into a reasonable prospect.
I didn't have a lot of guy best friends, but I wished I did so I could magically realize I'm in love with him. What I thought was a thing when I was 14, then I understood, no, that's not how the world works. The only thing I thought was kind of realistic about this plot was the idea that you could like somebody from afar, like the most popular girl, and just have this picture of her in your mind that she's perfect. There's nothing wrong with her. And then when you realize, no, she's a human being and she has imperfections, that, you know,
That is
idealism comes crashing down.
Yeah.
So that was, to me, that was the only realistic part where he realizes that Ashley Grant isn't this, you know, mythical creature, that she's a girl that has to bleach her mustache and gets, you know, scabs on her toes or something, which I think is one of the reasons he was like, I don't like you anymore. Really?
Yeah.
Kind of a dick
it's
move.
like, oh, you have gross feet. You have,
Kind of a dick move.
like athlete's foot or something.
Yeah. It happens, you know?
Yeah.
What did you think about the casting choices?
I thought the casting choices were, for the most part, fine, because I do, like, I've looked it up. Marla Sokoloff is 38 now. So 20 years ago, she was 18 or 19 at the time. And Jodi O'Keefe was 20. They weren't far off. Some of them do look a little older. Like, James Franco looks a lot older than what he is, because he has he's a very cheekbony face.
Yeah, he's
So
got that heroin chic.
Yeah, he always looked like he was in his mid-20s when he was probably 18. But I didn't have any issues with him. I mean, I have issues with some people's acting in the movie, but that has nothing to do with the casting of them.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I wanted to note in this category, because I don't really know where else to put it, is that I didn't understand James Franco. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be set in California.
Mm-hmm.
And he has that, like, he's from New Jersey kind of accent.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was just like, what are you doing there, dude? But
where is he from?
I'm pretty sure he's from Palo Alto.
Yes, he 100% is
So
from
he was just-
Palo Alto. Yeah. And he's hitting you with that, like a little bit of a Bronx accent at times.
It's amazing.
He must be hanging out with that sheriff from Without a Paddle from the South who lives in Oregon.
Yeah. What's your funniest line or moment?
My favorite part, we kind of talked a little bit about it, where Ryan and Ashley are riding the ride at the carnival and she throws up on him. So he wants to change his shirt because he's just covered in puke.
Right.
So he asks our boy Franco for his shirt and he shoots it down. He was like, what if I get cold? So he goes over, he wins the shirt, comes back. He realized Franco has given his shirt to Maggie.
Right.
So now fast forward to my favorite part. They're on a Ferris wheel. And Franco has also won Maggie a gigantic stuffed animal. So they're going over the Ferris wheel. It's just going around in a circle. And she's asking him, like, what he likes. And he's like, I like you. Tries to move in closer. So he throws this gigantic stuffed animal off of the Ferris wheel. There's a 6-year-old kid standing down there. Like, he goes to say something to his parents. And the stuffed animal crushes him. It's delightful. So then they come back to Franco, who says, I like that shirt, too.
His shirt.
And it's his shirt.
That was good. That was a good one. Mine was 5 minutes into the movie. They got to school, Maggie and Ryan. They're going into the auditorium for a sex ed talk. First thing in the morning. Good time to do it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to go down an aisle, and Chris, James Franco, is sitting down, and he's like, you gotta pay the toll, and he points to his cheek. He wants her to kiss it, and she's like, you want me to kick you in the face? And I always thought that was hilarious when I was a kid, and it still made me chuckle. Because the way she said it, she's like, you want me to kick you in the face?
So good.
What was your cringiest moment?
I have a lot of them.
Me too.
We were talking about earlier where Ryan is helping Chris try to score a date with Maggie.
Correct.
And he's using a soundboard, trying to make himself sound like James Franco, which he does completely unsuccessfully, at least sounding like him. But he scores the date for him.
Right.
So at the end of it, to celebrate, Shane West proceeds to play that funky music White Boy on an accordion.
Yes.
Like, what the hell?
His underwear.
Yes.
Wearing that straw
cowboy
hat.
This scene had everything. Terrible technology, an accordion.
It was so
Shane West in
cheesy.
his underwear. Amazing.
I put that as my moment, but good thing I have a couple listed.
Oh, I got 17.
We already mentioned it. One of them was when Ashley throws up on Ryan when they're on the carnival ride. It reminded me a little bit of Sandlot when everybody throws up from, I'm pretty sure, the same ride.
Yeah.
After smoking cigars. Also, after the date, they're saying goodbye, and Ashley puts her mouth over Ryan's entire finger.
Yes.
And sucks it.
Yes.
It was the most disturbing thing I had ever seen. Most notably because she's doing this in front of her cousin. And his cousin's date, who is Ryan's best friend.
But then they cut to the car, and Franco, like, sticks his finger out at Maggie, like, do you want to suck my finger too?
She just shakes it.
Yes.
No, that part was funny, but it was just so
It was so gross.
Because all I think about is when stuff like that happens in movies is, did you make the actor go wash his hands 5 times? Because there's no way I'd put anybody's fingers in my mouth like that.
No.
Gross.
Gross.
You okay there?
Yeah.
Did you have another one you wanted to talk about?
There's a scene where Ryan and Ashley are out on a date. And
this is weird.
Yeah.
Ryan and Ashley.
Yeah. And she is kind of rubbing her foot on his crotch. He doesn't know she has weird scabby things on her feet. Maybe athlete's foot. Who knows? But when the waiter comes by, it kind of startles her. And she kicks him in the crotch.
Yes.
And then she looks at him and she was like, oh, you poor thing. She's like, let mama rub it.
Yeah, gross.
What the hell? Let mama rub it.
So gross.
So gross.
That was all I had for cringiest.
Oh.
Do you have another one?
Just there was a scene where Ryan at some points realizes that he can just be mean to Ashley, and that's what she finds attractive.
Because that's what her cousin told him to do.
Yes. So, and he also gets kind of, I think he's done with her and he wants to be with Maggie.
Sure.
But Ashley still wants to go to prom with him. So she shows up on his lawn in her swimsuit and just like begging him to take her to prom.
Yeah, she's like, take me to prom.
Yeah.
In a very nasally voice.
Yeah. While I stand here in my swimsuit.
And then he's just like, the fact that he agreed to do that, he's the worst. I'm sorry. Everybody in this movie, the worst.
Yes.
I said it.
Yes.
It took us 45 minutes. I held it in. But I'm going to say it now.
The worst.
I did have a couple additional notes.
As did I.
Sweet. How many did you have?
2.
Oh, I have quite a few.
Oh.
But we might have already covered some of them. So, one of the things I wanted to maybe put in the offensive, but I ended up not, was towards the beginning of the movie, Floyd, Aaron Paul, pays the janitor $20
Oh, yeah.
to let him into the girls' bathroom, but Shane West goes instead. Why?
So creepy.
Why? You're going to get caught, first of all. There's 30 women walking around, and then he sits there and watches Ashley in the shower.
Like a creep.
For a minute. And then he runs out of the locker room eventually. And I'm like, why do you need to go through a special maintenance door to go? You could, if you really want to go in the girls...
Just walk through the door.
Yeah, basically.
There's no armed guard.
Yeah. It's so creepy.
Yeah.
It just kind of falls with that whole, like, oh, I'm the main character so I can get away with anything. Even though, to be fair... He didn't know what was going on when he got pushed through a couple doors and he's like, oh, I'm in the girls' bathroom. But he also didn't leave right away,
No.
so...
Well, I'm here. Yeah.
Well, I guess I can just look around at girls.
Yeah.
What was yours?
For their prom, which was in their high school gymnasium.
Correct.
They had a very cool gymnasium where the basketball court would open and close to reveal a swimming pool.
Oh, I know.
Fancy. But Shane West wants to profess his love for Maggie.
As you do in
And
a teen movie.
he decides he's going to dive into the pool from up on the stage, which is a good distance.
Right.
It was not like a little 2-foot dive. It was probably 12 feet up. He dives into this pool where once the pool, the basketball court starts opening, people are falling in, and there's a lot of people in. It drags out for a really long time, all these people falling in. He dives in. There's like 4 people in a 4-foot space where he lands.
Yeah. Dangerous.
So dangerous. Here comes a 200-pound guy flying through the air and crushes you.
Yeah.
Really.
I had a couple notes on that because, first of all, so jealous that that school had that. Because a couple towns over, a high school built that where I lived when I was, I think, a junior or senior. Mm-hmm. And I was so jealous because all I could think about was this movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember in school recently, when I was taking some architecture classes, we had to design our dream home, and one of my buddies totally put that in his house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Carlos did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And then that prank, while epic, kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Probably could have killed some people that didn't know how to swim or...
Oh, and they're all fully clothed falling into these things. That's going to weigh you down.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy shit.
But it dragged out for like 3 minutes, people falling in.
But then there was like the 2 popular guys doing the rendition of Titanic.
That was
which
funny.
fit with their Titanic Dreams theme.
Yes.
Other thing I pointed out was that, do you ever notice in movies set in high school, the teacher's always in the middle of a lesson and then the bell rings? Because that happens in this movie, and it happens in so many movies.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking, I don't really remember a lot from high school because it was quite a few years ago, but I'm pretty sure our teacher would stop teaching like the last 10 minutes of class, silent work on your homework time.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be like, okay, I'm going to be in the middle of this lesson. I know they know when class is going to end. It's the same time every day.
There's clocks, people.
Yeah. So it's just a little thing I noticed about teen movies, and also that every teen movie has to have a prom scene or end on a prom scene. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think they get arrested if they don't.
Yeah.
If they don't.
Charges are filed. The district attorney gets involved.
Like, you had a high school movie and you didn't end on a prom.
Come on.
Who are you?
Yeah. My last, it was disturbing, was Maggie ties Franco to a bed.
Yes.
He is in a thong, wearing a bow tie, and just getting oil rubbed onto his chest by her, which was disturbing. But she does it because, like, she wants to take pictures of him and show what a douchebag he is.
Right.
Then everyone just goes in and starts writing on him with lipstick.
Because he's not cool anymore because he's into some freaky shit, apparently.
Just disturbing.
The other thing I did want to notice as kind of a plot point flaw, in the beginning of the movie, Ryan's obviously obsessed with Ashley.
Yes.
And he just made this deal with Chris, and he's telling his buddies, like, which everybody's cool with it too, by the way. Like, obviously Maggie doesn't know because she's part of that deal, but Floyd and Cosmo know. And they're making fun of him, saying that he's like Quasimodo and she's
the girl from Notre Dame is what they said.
Or they say, like you referenced earlier, Julia Roberts and Lyle Lovett. They keep comparing him, and I'm like, Shane West is a good-looking guy. Like, stop trying to make it seem like he's not.
Yeah. But he's a nerd.
But still.
It's the same thing where, isn't it She's All That? Where Rachel Lee Cook is this ugly girl that they have to make pretty. Like,
well, and then they kind of make it, they don't make it as much of a point in this movie that Maggie is also kind of nerdy. But obviously Chris is already interested in her and he wants to get in her pants.
Yeah.
But she's still super unpopular, but she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, let's be honest. If you grew up in a big high school and you just weren't popular, no matter if you looked good or not, but looks do matter in high school. So if you were good looking, you were up on a higher scale than some
Very
people.
True. Very true.
So it's just, let's calm down with the calling him Quasimodo. It's Shane West. He's good looking.
He does not have a hunchback.
No. Should we move on to our
Yes.
final thoughts?
Yes, we shall. As on Ruining Our Childhood. It is always award season.
Which is this podcast.
I had a stroke at the beginning of that scene. I apologize. We give out 2 awards every week.
We do.
Every single week. The valedictorian to the Nicolas Cage Online School of Bad Acting. Who did you give your award to?
Mine was a hard decision, actually.
Yeah.
Because despite all of this movie's flaws, the actual acting wasn't bad. And there's parts of the movie that had little nuggets of good. But I gave it to Jodi O'Keefe because Ashley Grant is the worst.
The worst.
Out of most of these characters that are absolutely the worst type of people.
Yes.
She is the worst. And I think I partly gave it to her too because she's literally playing the exact same character she played and She's All That. She's obsessed with herself, but she's also insecure. She's mean to people that don't look like her.
Yeah.
And she's just this made up dream girl, and she's over the top the way she acts towards Shane West because apparently negging works on this type of girl. I don't know. She just gets increasingly worse too with each scene.
Yes.
And she's just the worst.
No,
nothing against Jodi O'Keefe though.
I gave it to the same exact person.
Oh, okay.
Because all of my cringy parts of this movie, there was one common theme.
Her. That's true.
Yeah,
Very
she
true.
was awful. She's the
I feel
worst
like we're gonna have
person
the same
ever. Probably.
pick for the other one.
Yeah, it was bad. She was not a good actress in this movie. I don't know her that well as far as other things. I know she still acts. I looked her up. She was on Prison Break.
She was in Vampire Diaries, right? Is that her? Am I thinking of a different person?
You're thinking of a different person.
No. Yeah, she was. She was the doctor that Ulrich dated.
Oh.
I think he married her. I don't know.
You are correct. You are correct.
Oh, yeah.
She was on 22 episodes of that show.
And she was on Nash Bridges, because my dad loved him some Don Johnson.
And who doesn't?
Yeah. So she played his daughter on Nash Bridges. Yeah.
Apparently been on a lot of things. And like I said, still acting. So it was just this movie was terrible for her. For her.
Shall we move on to our next award? Some would say the more prestigious. Not Nicolas Cage, though. he would probably say his was more prestigious.
Well, yeah.
The Thomas J. Hanks Award for exceptional acting, which is kind of weird because Colin Hanks is in this. Well, I didn't give it to him.
No, I didn't give it to him either.
He didn't have enough scenes.
No.
I do like him as an actor, though. He's got that charm that his dad has, I think.
He does. Yeah.
Who'd you give yours?
I gave it to Marla Sokoloff.
You son of a bitch, I did too.
This is a first where we both picked the same actor or actress, I should say, for both actors.
Is it?
Both awards. I think so.
Okay.
I enjoyed her a lot. I also, close second was Shane West. He was an enjoyable part. The one I actually almost gave my least favorite actor to was Aaron Paul.
He was a little over the top. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
A whole lot over the top. But Marla Sokoloff, you could definitely tell she was probably one of the more experienced actors, as she's been acting since she was a child. We talked about this.
True.
She was easily my favorite part, and I liked her a lot in this.
She was witty, especially in the beginning. I think they really didn't do her justice towards the end, but I think in the first 35 to 40 minutes of the movie, she was funny. Her lines cracked me up.
Yeah.
She was kind of a little bit jaded. You know, she's supposed to be like kind of alternative girl.
She cutely goes over and asks her best friend to take her to prom.
Right.
It was really cute.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
She just doesn't deserve anybody else in this movie.
No.
Like, she was the only character, too, that was good.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything bad other than accept Ryan's apology at the end. But
yeah,
she wasn't part of the bet, and she wasn't the worst like Ashley Grant was. I really like saying Ashley is the worst a lot. It's kind of weird. It's like my inner monologue.
Yeah. You're the worst.
Yeah.
I just looked up Marla Sokoloff, and she definitely still acts. She actually did 8 episodes of Fuller House.
Oh.
I did not know that. She played Gia, who we all remember her from.
Yeah, Quinn wants to chime in on that.
And I guess she's on a TV show called Hollywood Darlings?
Oh, is that the one where they, it's like,
with Christine Lake and Jodie Sweet and Beverly
where they
Mitchell.
play exaggerated versions of themselves.
Yep. She's on that.
I've been wanting to watch that, because I like stuff like that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. That's our pick. So should we move on to, does this movie hold up?
Yes, we shall.
Yes, it shall.
No, it was not a good movie.
No. I don't know if anybody can tell by all of the notes that we had for this movie, but holy crap, why did I like this movie?
I think out of any movie we watched outside of Batman Forever,
right,
this movie holds up the least.
I would say if we rated them, which maybe we should on our website, which we have a website, guys, go check it out.
Yeah.
I don't know the link.
We'll give it to
you.
Go
look. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. Just click on it, because I'm too cheap to buy a domain. But, yeah, no, it's the worst.
It was really awful.
It was, the characters, other than a Marla Sokoloff's character, you didn't root for anybody.
No.
I wanted to punch James Franco in the face multiple times with how exaggerated he was of the biggest white privileged douchebag I've ever met.
It's insane.
And Ryan, too.
When you take into consideration, this movie has James Franco. He's an A-list actor.
Yeah.
Shane West is pretty damn famous. Aaron Paul, probably an A-list actor. They were big components of this movie.
Right.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It's a terrible movie.
There was like tiny little parts, and we've said this before in our podcast, where there's parts of the movie that really you enjoy of a movie, but overall it just wasn't enough to save this Titanic type of movie.
Titanic dream of a movie.
Yeah.
So bad.
It's just I mean, obviously everything we said, most of it was negative.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't great. Out of all of the teen movies that came out in that generation, this is on the bottom of the barrel.
I will say something that I've noticed is we've reviewed, I think this might be the 4th one. We did Can't Hardly Wait, American Pie, Cruel Intentions, and this.
Jawbreaker.
And Jawbreaker. They don't hold up the best.
No.
The success rate's pretty small.
I think we liked Can't Hardly Wait.
We did like Can't Hardly Wait.
There's ones that would, which, ironically enough, this movie didn't have trailers just automatically play, but we were looking at the special features, and they had two trailers for Jawbreaker
Can't hardly
and
wait.
Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah. I think you just had a stroke when you were saying that. Can't hardly wait. Can't hardly wait. Are you holding your tongue when you talk?
I am now.
Apples. Remember that one? I used to say, hold your tongue and say apples, because then it would sound like assholes. Oh, we just lost Ashley. Sorry, guys. She's legit crying. I'm sorry. That takes me back. You don't remember that? Oh, I remember being like 5. I used to be like, hey, hold your tongue and say apples. Comes out like assholes.
Remember that?
If you remember it, throw it in the comments, please.
Yes. Oh, God. I'm dying.
Sorry, guys.
This is going to be a little bit of editing from me not crying. Anyway, so another one in the books for the loser column. Because holy shit, this movie sucked.
Yes.
Watch She's All That instead if you want to watch Jodi O'Keefe be a jerk.
But you know what? Also, if you want to see some terrible acting that is downright cringy, but also really funny, go watch this movie.
Also, her name is Jodi Lyn O'Keefe. I'm forgetting the Lyn part, I think. Sorry if you're listening.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry if you're listening, Jodi Lyn O'Keefe.
I'm sure she has much better things to do.
Slightly better things to do with her
Thank
day.
you so much for listening, guys. Thanks you for making us a part of your week.
Yes. We always ask that you throw us a review and maybe a subscribe on the podcast app on your Apple iPhone.
Oh, good job.
You can pre-order the iPhone 11 now. Also...
Are we getting paid for that?
No, we're not. Man. I wish we were. Get that Apple money.
Yeah.
Woo!
Could use some Apple money.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram at Ruining Our Childhood.
And Facebook, also at Ruining Our Childhood. I think I hurt my tongue by holding it.
And then lastly, over on Twitter at ROC Movie Podcast.
That is correct. And also, thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah.
In your life.
We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week.
And Rupert and Quinn say hi, so.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Go bye.